Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow YouTubers. Welcome to another edition of Mary Sky Read-A-Lee's video blog. I'm Mary Sky, also known as Fleet Admiral Krabby McCoffee. If you're new to the channel, hit the like, subscribe, thumbs up button. If you're a comer backer, welcome. I was up early because I had to have my therapist appointment today. Apparently, my adopted brother, Ted, was complaining again about, I don't have therapy. Oh, you're lucky. Oh, you should watch this video. First of all, the video that he wanted me to watch was something that has no effect on me whatsoever. He claims everything has an effect. No, it doesn't. You see, unless there's a Great Depression, I don't care. The thing is, we are preppers. We are not wanting to argue about some person saying, oh, well, this will affect. It doesn't affect me, and it will not affect me. And I'm not here. We're here to talk about today. But first, if you're new to the channel, hit the like, subscribe, thumbs up button. If you're a comer backer, welcome. So, let's talk about today's food bank thing. Food bank, EBT, food stamps, and SNAP benefits. And then we'll get into the other news at the end. So, government issued that they have to fully fund it. Yeah, I mean, literally. However, a lot of people, the Republicans are like, no, we should only fund half of it. That's what we have. Now, the FAA is turning around, the Transportation Administration turning around and saying, look, we have to cut 40 cities' airspace because, there's no funding. Well, I just say cut it all. We don't need the airlines. I mean, if anything can be shipped by truck, let it go by truck. If it can be shipped by train, let it be shipped by train. We still have a lot of issues. But unfortunately, you know how things go with the government shutdown, They're like, oh, yeah. And then I just saw a report today, that the Senate is not going to budge. They're like, look, we think we have enough backing to turn around and literally tell them that we're not going to open the government up unless we get what we want. Really, Donald Trump once said that if you gave the entire Democratic Party everything they wanted, they'd still disagree. And I have to agree with the president on that. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, we made complete sense then. And that is probably the truth. I mean, think about it. I've heard people message me, and here's a part about food stamps, EBT, and SNAP. And then I'm going to go into the other thing. So I got a call today from Chloe. One reason why I see therapists monthly. Chloe drives me nuts about, hold on. Let me just take this off real quick. About politics. And you're probably thinking, why would Chloe drive me nuts? Well, today it was about the SCOTUS ruling on the gender markers. It's not, from what I understand, this is minor. But you know what? As I said to someone else, you could put that in a deal with the government opening, and the president would just veto it because in his opinion, well, it doesn't really matter. You're still transgender, right? See, what they're trying to say is DEI doesn't matter, really. Well, what if the president turned around and found out, and this is where we all differ, and, you go in, state IDs, you can have female unless he basically says all, but he does an executive order, states challenge it, the state set there, it goes to the Supreme Court goes, oh, you have to be a man! Yeah, so after your thing is, literally, but the thing is, they're trying to implement more things faster now due to the fact that they're pissed off that the Democrats apparently are all tooting their horns that they own the redneck goons now. I mean, you wouldn't believe the crap I've had to go through in the last, So anyways, we won't go there. So a lot of people have said to me, will the government open up by Thanksgiving? Possibly. They're working on it, but that's only if the Senate basically thinks they can pass a deal. Now, a lot of people have emailed me, too, being like, Rita, did you see the thing about Nancy Pelosi? Yeah, actually I did. I mean, the food stamp thing, I'm still kind of skeptical because, in my opinion, if I was running the country, which I'm not, but if I was, legally, I would sit there and say, the government shut down. There is no continuing resolution, therefore there is no money for food stamps. That's the legalese. The Democrats are sitting there saying, look, you're going to allow Americans to go hungry. I'm sorry to say, but, the point is The government is not going hungry, or the people. Plain and simple, but you get the idea. They're like, oh, the government is going hungry. Right. So, anywho, back to the story, okay? So, basically, they're complaining about things, right? They're like, well, what do we do? How do we do it, right? I've been discriminated so many times. You know, it's just, when you hear a discrimination cause, you just let it go in one ear and out the other. I mean, literally, I've had death threats. I've had, discrimination. I've had, everything. My adopted brother, he's like, oh, you're got to worry about the banking. No, I don't, because right now, I'll tell you what's worrying me, okay? The last few days, my bank has been sending bills out, right? Paying bills, auto bill pay, right? Turns out they're double and triple and even quadruple charging, and then they're going, oh, it's a banking error, we'll wait for it. So my balance is going down like this, right? But then it goes back up, then it goes down. I mean, literally, it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And then they're like, oh, the Consumer Finance Bureau is shut down, so you got to worry about that. Maybe the banks are trying to rip you off. I mean, I hear all this stuff, and then I hear all these people, and they're like, oh, well, what do we do? And it's like, no one cares. Yeah, no one literally cares. Now, the food stamps, on the other hand, is a different story due to the fact that we have all these people tooting and like, oh, yeah, we're going to get it full up yours, Rita. Until Donald Trump releases that money, it's all hypothetical. He could sit there and thumb his nose. I mean, look at it. He does an emergency shadow docket and says, oh, yeah, we need to keep passports. Really? So Chloe today threw a fit. Chloe's all upset again, right? I said, look, you can't even give it to Allah. You don't even believe Allah. If you believed in Allah, you would give it to Allah and let Allah handle this. But no, she basically gets mad because someone wants to discriminate against her for being who she is, And to me, I think it's pretty dang hilarious. Sorry, I was checking my candle. I lit a candle today. So I think it's doggone hilarious that you have these people going, oh, we didn't get our passports. Yeah, well, the passport agency stonewalled a lot of people anyway. So it's like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? So if you need to leave the country, you use mail. And if they want to say something, you say, well, but that's why you look at countries that accept you and leave if you have to. Fortunately, the problem is we're not getting to that point. All these people are like, oh, yeah, we own the libs. Oh, yeah, we own the libs. Now it's, oh, yeah, we own the Trumpers. Oh, yeah, we're not going to accept Trumpism. Oh, yeah, we're going to get rid of Project 2025. Look, they really wanted to stonewall things. They could go take the 900-page Project 2025, stack it up into the CR and say, we're not accepting this. All these things. Just go peel it layer by layer and say, what did Donald Trump do? The government can stay shut down. I mean, literally, they could turn around. You see, a lot of people have been messaging me saying, how do you go around this? Easy. You either go and message every congressman and senator and say, put it in your CR, which protects it, or they're going to basically see no food stamps. Again, they can basically argue that one because the government's shut down. We shouldn't be thinking. I mean, look, there's a lot of people out there saying, if the government doesn't open, housing's going to be shut down. Yeah, exactly. You see, what's more important, you eating or someone's housing? Oh, well, my name is Jimbo, and I got 92 kids, and I got to eat, so I don't care about your housing. Yeah, I've seen emails like that, too. It's like, dude, housing is not good. When people are sitting there thinking they're see, every person in this country thinks it's all about themselves. Think about it. Look at Chloe, for example. Chloe calls me up. Oh, yeah, the Democrats did this. Why can't the Republicans leave us alone? Because the Republicans have a problem. You're in a blue state. You're protected. Unless they go in and take out blue states, you're in a blue state. You're protected. Now, the problem is there's a lot of things, right? Like my brother Ted. Oh, yeah, that reminds me. He's going to sit there and be like, can you turn on closed caption? Do I have to? Because frankly, I don't want to. I mean, literally, I would not like to, but I will because he's always complaining about closed captions. Yeah. So, hold on a sec. There we go. Show them art because I have to go into this box here while it's editing. And then I got to go down. Is it edited content? No. Do we want captions? Yes. This content is never aired. It's title and description of language. Oh, yeah. Title and description, English. Let's just put English. 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 There we go. And then we have to go save because Brother Ted. Oh, I can't hear what you're saying. Nor can I. Do you think I care? No, I don't. Frankly, I don't like catering to people. That's the problem, okay? I hate catering to people. There's people out there, right? Let me tell you this story today, okay? Old lady turns around. I walk out to get the trash. I'm not going to tell you the contents of the whole conversation, just a piece of it, because what she's always saying in a drunken stupor is discerning and disgusting, all right? But she said to me she wanted me to go buy a 32-inch TV for the same price she paid. Not going to happen. You see, first of all, my brother and I talked. I'm not buying a 720p TV, first of all. Secondly, I'm not buying any TVs because, frankly, we don't need a TV right now. Chloe and I have to discuss TVs, but right now there is no reason why to talk about TVs. But people say, oh, well, the TVs. Yeah. So the next step is, I was like, you need to take this TV and buy it, and then I can buy a bigger one. Why? Because you don't have the room for a bigger one. You want a 40-inch now, 43-inch now, 50-inch now. You don't have the room for it. And two, you don't have the money. What are you going to do? I mean, literally, these people, they think that now that Trump's food stamps have been restored, they can buy a TV. Food stamps have been not restored. They're still arguing about it, and I wouldn't give it any time. You see, as long as the government has the food stamp shut down, and then they turn around and shut down travel, they could disable travel next because, well, the thing is the government controls the air traffic controllers. But a lot of air traffic controllers would rather quit. And people, and these air traffic controllers, they'd rather quit or get fired than go to work and get a paycheck. I mean, you hear these people, oh, well, if the government doesn't open, the military doesn't get paid. Who cares? I mean, literally, who cares, okay? I don't care. I don't care if some old lady complains about, I need to get my food stamp to get a TV. No, you don't need to go and buy another TV. I was looking today, someone was telling me something about Costco, right? And they're like, hey, did you check out that Costco thing? And I was like, hey, no, I didn't. What do we got here? And they're like, you didn't check out the Costco thing? And I'm like, negative. And they're like, really? And I was like, no. And because Costco's always got deals at TVs, right? And they're like, why don't you check out Costco? Well, I wouldn't mind checking out Costco if I needed something. Literally, I don't mind Costco. Yeah. So anyways, you got all these people and they're like, oh yeah, you need this, right? Like someone was just telling me the other day, there's a Black Friday deal on right now. Ryzen 5, right? Look at that. 8 gigs of RAM, okay? You're buying a computer and you get 8 gigs of RAM. I'm sorry, dude, but 8 gigs of RAM? There's got to be more than 8 gigs of RAM. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, It's like, yeah. That's the thing. They're always like, 8 gigs of RAM? I'm like, yeah, So, yeah, So, example, someone was asking me about Costco, did you check out pricing? It's like, no, I didn't check out pricing. I knew a guy who was offering me a TV a while ago, and he's like, oh, did you see that TV? And it's like, no, I didn't. What am I missing, Am I missing something? Because someone was just saying the other day that there's these TVs, they're like 58-inch TVs, and everyone keeps asking me here. Let me move this over here so I can see my tabs. So people are asking me about 58-inch TVs, and I'm like, I have not seen a 58-inch TV, right? And they're like, you haven't seen it? And I'm like, no, I have not seen a 58-inch TV. And they're like, oh, well, those are pretty cheap. And I'm thinking, yeah, if you can find a 58-inch TV, I'd like to see one. But I don't think there's a 58-inch TV. But apparently they're not bad pricing, And people are like, you can get a decent 58-inch TV. And it's like, yeah, okay, I'd like to see a 58-inch TV. Maybe they're affordable, A lot of people say, what's so special about 58 inches? Well, that's the price, basically, as I told my adopted brother the other day, and he's like, oh, you're cheap, you're Rita the cheaper. Yeah, I'm Rita the cheaper, I guess, but the thing is, you gotta basically look at it from a point of view is how many people are actually going to invest in that type of stuff. I mean, literally. I mean, oh yeah, see that? I just love how it's like, delivery is, you put in your delivery address and they're like, denied, we're not shipping you a TV. Delivery is unavailable. It's a TCL, okay. Then there's there's another one, right? Samsung, right? And then if you hit refresh, right, it'll be like, delivery unavailable. They can only go to 50-inch by Best Buy. Apparently they're too big to ship. Yeah, so anyways, it's like you can pick that up in 1 hour for her. And then Chloe, it's a funny story about Chloe. Hold on, let me move that. She's like, don't you, or you could go to Walmart, right? It says right here, shipping is free or free pickup. So it's like right here, 238-inch TV, right? It's like, it's a high definition 4K. And it's like, yeah, this ain't bad if you want it. And it's a Roku TV. So there you go, you see? Yeah, and then all you have to do is buy it and then set it up, and most people are like always complaining, I always look at specifications because you're limited on what do you call it, space, you have those new fangled thingies, it's like they don't give you much of the yeah. So, basically, people are like, oh, here it is. Is this the specs? Here we go. So, it's 50.9 inches from inch to inch. So, basically, I have a small TV stand. So, apparently, unless I have a specific thing, I could probably fit in a 50-inch, barely, of a Roku TV on my desk, But my brother, he'd be like, oh, do you need that big? Not really, because I've measured it out, but 32 to 43 wouldn't be too bad. 40, I could fit a 40, but again, it's all about price, and a lot of people right now are like, do you really want to buy a TV? No, I don't, but, I had to bring it up because the old lady was complaining about TVs and food stamps, and it's like, dude, first it's food stamps for the children, then it's food stamps for everyone, then it's food stamps for her only, and then it's like, oh, do you need food stamps? And then, I mean, the old lady's always drinking, so to me, I'm like this, okay? So this is how I see it, okay? I gave up drinking because it's bad, and my health is down the toilet anyways, so I gave up drinking. Oh, I haven't taken my ibuprofen today, that's the other thing. I ordered some more ibuprofen, it was like $8 for a jar. My brother Ted, he'd be like, oh, you can't buy it, you can't use it. Comes a Ted, you just don't want to listen to him. I got some pork chops defrosting, so. Anyways, the wind is really bad today, by the way. The wind is so bad, my window is completely drenched. So, the dog's got poo pads in the corner. He's doing okay. You guys are always emailing me, asking me if the doggo's still alive. He was on video the other day, but for the sake of the argument, the doggo is right here. Oh, come here, bud. What's wrong, huh? What's wrong, little doggy? Oh, yeah. A lot of you people out there, some of you message me, you say you like my channel, you might like my content, but you're only here for the dog. So I'm like, well, the dog is here. See? Little dog is here. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, bottom line is, people, is the thing is with food stamps, a lot of people are worried about the food stamps. It's like, dude, it's only the 6th of the month. I mean, we got, what is it, 20, what is it, Moppy, 22? 20, say, 6, 11, 6, 27. Yeah, 6. Yeah, we got 3 weeks from today as Thanksgiving. And a lot of people are like, oh, what do we do? We don't have Thanksgiving. Check your food banks. I got an email. I mean, I didn't get an email today so much. I'm not going to show you the paper because my name's on it. They give me an invoice when my driver delivers my food bank to me every week on Thursday. Oh, yeah. See? Whoop. But anyways, you stink. You need a bath. Aunt Zoe would say you stink. Right, little junior man? Anyways, the other day with one of my drivers. We had the company car because the taxi was driving me off island, and the driver was complaining about his stink. It's like, dude, the little guy does stink a little bit, but thing is, you gotta love the dog because the dog does a service for me. So, anyways, the point is the food bank messaged me a little email, right? And they emailed me and they left a note for me in my paper that gives me my invoice. I didn't get my waters this week. They're like, waters sold out. Actually, if they say sold out, we're not buying it. So I guess they should have said out of stock. Sold out was funny. But anyways, back to the story. Okay, so basically, hi, I love you. So anyways, Chloe said she may come out Monday or Tuesday next week for a day trip. So she may bring me some more milk. Yes, that's what we need. We need some more milk. Anyways, so the bottom line is I turned around. I want to tell you guys this story. And I turned around and they gave me a notice that, the first people, they said, email today the church. The church is like, the deacons are going to decide if they're going to do Christmas dinner and Christmas help this year, right? Well, if Zoe was around, she'd know about that anyways. But anywho, so, I got an email I'd like to complain about here for a second. It's from Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. I get emails from the Democrats and the Republicans. It says Republicans have kept the government shut down for 37 days because they think it's fraud, waste, and abuse. Well, you know what? I think the Republicans are trying to crack down on fraud, waste, and abuse. I mean, think about it. I mean, if you're basically buying health care and you're in a pool and your health care is $56 for a family of four, right? And all of a sudden, they're sitting there and you're buying it and everyone else is buying it, and then your grandpa, who's, say, 90 years old, finds out his health care is like $600 a month because, let's face it, he may bring in plenty of money or he's got a lot of health care issues. But they turn around and say, hey, why should we be supporting the old people? And the people say, well, when you get that age, the pool will be there for you, the Affordable Care Act. Well, apparently, they're dissolving it. Well, a lot of these Republicans don't want to pay, their, the pay for everyone else's health care. I don't blame them, but anyways, let's continue this for a second. It's waste, fraud, and abuse. I thought it was fraud, waste, and abuse, but I guess in her opinion, it's WFA, waste, fraud, and abuse. I like that, waste, fraud, and abuse. To give health care to more than 22 million Americans. I was just talking about fraud, waste, and abuse today, actually, with Chloe. 22 million Americans receive ACA subsidy because they don't get insurance through their job, are too young to Medicare, and not poor enough for Medicaid. Well, maybe, but here's the kicker. 22 million people on the Affordable Care Act, 90% of them can go and have sex changes through the pools, and that's another reason why they're trying to stovepipe this by keeping it away. Why? Because they've been giving an assignment to rob Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security to pay for tax cuts to billionaires. Well, I'd like to see the numbers on that one because, people say to me, Rita, are you for the Democrats or for the Republicans, or are you a bigot? Well, I like to see numbers, okay? Now they want to slip in, want to sign on to one little extra year of ACA subsidies. Want to know why? Midterm elections are taking place next year. Wow! They want us to fall for the same old fine print tricks and politics around this. It is laughable. But will you contribute $5? Gee, that's funny. I saw an email today that was pretty funny too, guys. It was from Gavin. He's sitting there talking about a small number of folks because I want to try something a few people think that is a bit of crazy. Okay. I have a book coming out in a few weeks called Young Man in a Hurry. Wow, Gavin. It's a good book, very personal, not a normal political book, but of course, there will be a bunch of political stories you'll enjoy. I think you'd like it. Wow. At the same time, we just spent a bunch of money passing Prop 50. Wow, Prop 50. So now I need to refill the coffers at my campaign for democracy for the fights ahead, including helping other states pass redistricting to stop Trump from rigging the next election. Wow, that's amazing email. And this is from, hold on, let me see. Where's this from exactly? From info at Gavin Newsom. I never subscribed to him, by the way. They just saw my information. So here's the part that maybe seem a little crazy. If you make a contribution any amount, I'll send you a copy of my new book when it comes out. The average cost is $22.45, including shipping. If you can give that, great. If you can only give $5, great. If you want to cover the cost of a few folks who can only give a few bucks, great. But make a contribution to any amount, and I'll give you, and I'll send you a copy of my new book, Young Men in a Hurry. If we want to raise more than cost, every dollar will go towards helping Democrats fight back in Trump's effort to rig the next election. Wow, isn't that amazing? Donate $3, get a free book. Donate $25, get a free book. Donate $50, get a free book. Donate $100, donate $250, and yada yada yada. And on the bottom, thank you, this means a lot to me. And keep good, if you want to read this book, yeah, okay, so let's see, Young Man in a Hurry. I'm just curious, can you pre-order it on Amazon? Because this will be interesting. Yeah, because I am curious. Okay, here we go. Young Man in a Hurry, a memoir of discovery. Pre-order guarantee is $30, and it's February 24th. Wow. By Gavin Newsom. Yeah. Wow, isn't that amazing? Yeah. Can you believe that? You see all this stuff, and yet... Yeah, well, we'll look it over later. At least it's saved, right? Yeah, so that is not bad at all. I just thought I'd share that funny email to you all. So they're all begging for money. You see that? They're willing to give a $22.45 book. Fortunately, it's not really a $22.45 book, is it? Now, do you guys think you could part with $3? That's something I want to share with you. Remember, AOC wants $8. And by the way, has anyone ever decided to sign up for all these newsletters? Just to be funny. And before you say, well, why should I? Simple. If you do that, you can see how many Democrats and how many Republicans are trying to freeload. Now, I don't get any emails from Donald Trump. I think Google basically blocked them and sends them to my trash can because I don't see anything. But it's okay. I don't mind. I'm like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. So, the bottom line is the American people need to realize that we are fighting for, well, there's two types of people. One party is fighting for democracy. The other party is fighting for, one will be, yeah, So I'm like, yeah. Let's see. They're like, oh yeah. So apparently, Amazon's, yeah. So Amazon's, yeah. Anywho, so the government turns around, and they sit there, And my opinion is if you're going to turn around, peeps, and you ask for money, then people need to basically send out a message from time to time saying, I don't have the $3, or I don't have the $5, or I don't have the $25. I mean, have you noticed throughout the campaigns over the years, they're always asking daily for money? I have never seen so many things. I mean, literally, you have these people messaging, well, we are such and such, will fight for democracy, but we need you to donate. So you donate, and then you don't even get a thank for nothing. It's just like, oh yeah. So it's like, half these people, to me, it's, if you want to get technical of the email, waste, fraud, and abuse, I like that, waste, fraud, and abuse. It's actually fraud, waste, and abuse, FWA, not waste, fraud. Anyways, that people need to basically turn around and ask, what is waste, fraud, and abuse? I'll tell you what fraud, waste, and abuse is. It's basically turning around and seeing some jack monkey turn around and be like, hey, we want your money. Yet that's fraud, waste, and abuse. If you're on Social Security, you think you're going to cut a check for $5 or $20? I wouldn't. Hold on a sec. I need to, I'm trying to. Nope, it's not going to work. Oh well. Anyways, looks like it's going to be like this for all night. Okay, cool. So anyways, I was just checking and testing a theory out. Also, the fraud, waste, and abuse thing is pretty damn funny because they're literally like, you know, I think they're the ones causing fraud, waste, and abuse. Where's that money go anyways? Where are they plunking it? They're just using email because it's cheaper. They set up an email thing, send it out, and be like, we need $5 today. Tomorrow we need $3. I mean, literally, wouldn't that be considered fraud, waste, and abuse? Why isn't the government investigating these people, sending emails out asking for money? I mean, you don't see me sitting there going, if you like my channel, people, donate $2 per day. No, I mean, if you don't like my content, you don't need to pay for it. Like, simple. I mean, I have a few people message saying, hey, we love your channel, here's $50, or we love your channel, here's a gift card for Christmas. But, you know, these people also sit there and they literally like what I'm giving them because, you know, it is literally like, you know, whatever. But these people with food stamps are like, you know, people can't afford it. I mean, look, when you sit there and look at the numbers and you see people say there is no jobs around, we can't get work, that's because the government shut down. And if the government was open, I mean, look at these people that say, oh, well, we'd like to take someone who's governmentally employed and give them a job, but as soon as the government opens up, they're going to quit, so we're not retraining someone. We want someone who will stay with us for a long time, and these people aren't finding it because most of these people, half of them, they don't know what they're looking into for work. They're just like, oh, we want this, and they find out it's pretty crappy. So, in my opinion, if you don't have the money, then don't worry about it, you know, because frankly, I wouldn't want the money, give money anyways. I mean, literally, I donated some gift card recently. I owed my brother one. He would get another one. Problem is, in my opinion, Chloe's like, did he ever help with the TV check lately? No. Did he check with the other thing yet? No. Why is he not doing it? Because, you know, he's got his own thing to do. But it's fine. I mean, literally, there's nothing to report. I mean, look, desktop, laptop. Which TV? 32, 40, 50. I mean, 58 wouldn't be too bad, but you have to pick the damn thing up and hope like heck you have enough. I mean, literally, I'd have to take a measuring tape and hope like heck it would fit. And literally, the TV that we wanted is literally discontinued or sold out. I mean, it's like every month they bring it in and then every month it's sold out, right? So why worry about a TV? And by the way, again, I'd like to talk to you about that that other email problem we have. You know, you guys sit there and say, what email problem do we have? Has anyone ever seen that email recently where the email came back and they're like, do not buy anything from the 25th of November to December 2nd. So they want to basically broker in America, which, by the way, if the government still stayed shut down, no one's going to be able to afford, even if it's back pay, no one's going to be able to afford Cyber Monday, which my brother would be like, oh, I want to go shopping for Cyber Monday. I don't care if you want to go shopping for Cyber Monday. Thing is, you got to be frugal because no one knows what's going to happen for the future. Of course, you know my brother. He'd be like, oh, you're just saying that because you have nothing better to do. Well, let me put it this way. The worst case scenario, okay, for Christmas, all right? I was telling this to Chloe and she didn't care because, again, Chloe's more interested in the government shouldn't be taking away my sex change. The government shouldn't take away my sex change. Well, the government doesn't want to take away your sex change. The government just doesn't want to deal with anyone right now. And I had to hear her today. Well, here's what happened, okay? So Chloe's angry. Chloe gets angry, right? So Chloe gets angry. And I want to tell you what Chloe did. This was Chloe. Well, F you. I don't want to talk to you every minute. Click. And I'm thinking, dude, you're the only one in the entire world probably that gets combative thinking that, you know, everyone should accept you as a woman, right? People don't want to accept you. Who cares, right? It doesn't matter. Unfortunately, it does matter because once in a while I get a negative email on something that's like, in the email that people get banned. But mostly people just don't email because they don't care. And when they do, they just usually email me about what's going to happen with food stamps. People are more worried about the food stamps. And I understand that. But I also understand that the government their job is not to cover your food stamps. In my opinion, they're like, oh, Rudy, you're a bigot. You don't want us to have food stamps. I didn't say that. I mean, a lot of people out there, 42 million apparently, are worried. I mean, old lady, when I get my food stamps, I don't know how more, so I can buy that bigger TV. Oh, you don't want to buy that TV? No, I don't want to buy a bigger TV. I remember in the old day, I don't even know if they still have it, but I could probably find it because I want to tell you a story. So when I bought a TV back in the day, let me see. It was on, great. Yeah. I think it was a projection we had because it was kind of funny, back in the day. I'm trying to see if I can find it. It was an old... Oh, yeah, there it is. So, basically, there was this TV, right? And, yeah, it was a, yeah, so it was the Toshiba 40-inch theater-wide projection TV back in the day. Yeah, that's what it was. And, back in the day, it was pretty cool for 1997. And, it wasn't a bad 40-inch TV, And my mom was like, saying, that's not bad, but it ain't good. It was like, in her opinion, it was kind of too big, and the big screen TVs back in the day were, too big. And, to me, 40 inches was not bad at all. A lot of people are like, 40 inches, not bad. And, not bad at all. And yet, nowadays, it's like, what is this? Hold on. I want to say, because when I bought my, when I had a Hitachi 60-inch, and, it had a lot of problems, and Hitachi wasn't going to fix it. They just said send it back, so I went with a 40-inch. Wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. And then I had a Mitsubishi 70-inch, which I, loved. And yet my 70-inch TV was, taken away a long time ago, and to me, I was like, yeah, so anyways, it was pretty good back in the day, and nowadays, the 70-inch TVs, or Mitsubishi doesn't even make it, and then I had an 80-inch ProScan, so the point I'm making is, nowadays, you got people complaining about, pricing. And, my adopted brother, he's like, if I wanted to send him a project, I'd give him the job for the TV thing. But the thing is, right now, he's like, oh, you need to talk about the bank thing. I don't want to talk about the bank thing. The bank thing stinks. How many people out there want me to talk about, let me put it this way. I was browsing the net the other day, right? And the net, right? And, the whole food stamp thing. People are like, worried about the food stamp thing. It's like they're worried about food stamp and healthcare. Yeah, SCOTUS comes along, people say, you got to talk about the trans thing. Why? Unless you're going to get a passport and leave, does it really matter? Literally. I mean, when you look at most of the countries, you got to ask yourself, which countries truly accept you and which ones don't. Break it down. Then from there, you can figure out what you're going to do. Because if you're really upset and you're scared, you can use passports as a way out. That's all I'm saying. And yet, my father-in-law and I, we were going to talk about that tonight. He's like, try calling on the regular phone. Tonight's Thursday, so he should be home. He starts work on Saturday again, so he's going home. Tomorrow he's going to go get the doggo. I think he's got to get the... I asked him last night, the night before, I think it was like, so you're in Owensboro. That's where his family's from. He's visiting. And you're at the Super 8. And he said, the Super 8's got great biscuits and gravy, but no. And I said, no. He said, no. I said, so where'd you go? He said, Roadway. And I said, why Roadway? He said, because they allow smoking. So, he chose the Roadway in Owensboro because they allow smoking. And, I should Google that while we're talking about that because it'd be an interesting thing. Roadway, Kentucky. Yeah, Because, it would be interesting. So, the hotels and okay, so the Roadway Inn is a choice hotel. Okay, hold on, let me see. So, Dad's there. I guess he chose it because it's 59. Government, travelers, FEMA approved, vending machines, pet friendly. May additional cost. Hold on. Oh, yeah, here we go. See, look at this. Right there. One king bed, smoking, $59. Yep, so Dad's probably got this one. Let me just see that. So, Dad's got this room here. Says smoking allowed. So, he literally got his Roadway, which is smoking. Yeah, probably at the end of the building is where they're allowing smoking, but still, he's like, yeah, I'm at the Roadway Inn. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, if they're allowing smoking, he's there, dude. He's happy. I remember the Super 8 wasn't bad, but the thing is, when you basically see a guy who wants to smoke, you just gotta let him because that's his opinion. He's 74 years old, and he's just like, I mean, to him, let me just tell you my dad. My dad's opinion is you don't touch his pot, and you surely don't touch his cigarettes. And you don't basically try to break him with his religion because he'll put you in your place. So, my father-in-law, right. So, anyway, so the bottom line is dear old Poppy, that's what his name is, Poppy. He's always complaining about the thing, and I mean, literally. So, to me, it is the funniest thing in the world, but, like I said, I should send my, so, so anyways, the food stamp thing, people are just like, oh, the food stamps, are we really going to get it? Well, we'll see. I mean, the government keeps talking about how they want to keep the government shut down till, like the 17th of the month. That's like 12 days, So apparently, okay, so, well, I was curious about this because the news is talking about high traffic airports will be shut down. New York, major hubs, Atlanta, Boston, Chicago. Okay, so it's basically both Republican and Democrat. Okay, I heard it was only Democratic. I was going to say what the hell. Honolulu, Houston, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Miami, Phoenix, Seattle, Washington, D.C. Wow, that's interesting. Another 10 airports in the country is expected. Alaska, Indianapolis, Portland, Oregon, and Ontario, California. Some small airports in the core 30 cities are also on the list. So, apparently you got, 2 in Texas, like 4 in Florida, 1 in Georgia. Yeah. I mean, Chicago and Minneapolis and, well, you know what? The smaller airport hubs, flight volume will be cut 10%. Airline officials said they were told Thursday to cut 4% of flights at those airports starting Friday. Wow, 4%? American Airlines said a vast majority of its customer flights will not be affected in long-haul international service. Wow. 10 days you need to be there. Don't want to be stranded. I highly recommend booking a backup ticket. Oh, wow. So, book a backup ticket because we want your money. So here's the news about the full SNAP payments. Let's look at this real quick. It says, federal judge in Rhode Island said Thursday the Trump administration must fully cover food stamps benefits for tens of millions of Americans in November. If I was President Trump, I'd take it to the Supreme Court and say, look, we don't have any money. The government shut down. Why pay these people? I mean, I'm not a bigot, okay? I'm just looking after how the law works. People have gone without for too long. Really? I mean, most people didn't get their food stamps for the last 5 days. 5 days, huh? John McConnell said Thursday hastily called a hearing Thursday. Not making payments to them for even another day is simply unacceptable. Wow. For a judge that's not going hungry, I wouldn't complain, man. Nearly 42 million Americans receive food stamp payments or on staggered basis over the course of a month. But the U.S. Department of Agriculture took the unprecedented step to halting benefits. Well, good for Brooke Rollins for November, saying the program had run out of funding amid the government shutdown. Well, think about it. If you turn around and you impound money for USAID and other crap that you don't want to give, no one knows what's happening with that money, put it into the food bank, or the food stamps. Instead, they're turning around and basically saying, you know, I mean, if we can impound funds for stuff that's already been paid out, then we can impound funds to supply food stamps. No, we can't. The law is basically shut down. This is why people call me a bigot when they're like, oh, we can't eat because you won't let us eat. No, the law is shut down. It'd be like me telling my adopted brother, you don't get free internet for the month because the government program is shut down. Let's finish this, okay? So at the judge's ruling, however, many beneficiaries may have to wait at least a few more days to see the assistance. State sends food stamp enrollees information to vendors every month so they can load funds onto recipients' benefits cards, often days or weeks before the new month begins. Those steps need to take place. Look, I'm going to go out on a limb here before we continue this, because a lot of people sit there and they say, we'd like to hear your opinion. Other people say, we don't want to hear your opinion. My coffee cup needs to be refilled. So, McConnell's order comes days after the administration response to earlier order for him would provide only partial food stamps for only children, right? $4.65 billion out of 9, so it's half the fund, 50%. They said they could pay 65%. Supplemental nutritionists are SNAP, formal name for food stamps. The judge said the administration not worked fast enough to ensure money reached the program's millions. It had acted arbitrarily and capriciously when it decided early the week that it would not pay full benefits. I'm sorry to say, I'm going to go out on a limb here for the judges and say, first of all, there is no money. No money. Secondly, the government turns around and says, yeah, we're going to release this money to emergency, but then what happens when emergency comes and there's no money? Or 3, here's a big one that I really like. Government shut down. How do you get the USDA to go to work, pay for it? Well, let me explain how these places... Sorry about that, people. So, let me tell you the story about the food stamps. Hold on a sec. I gotta check my office. My dog is looking at me funny. I hope you went on the potty pad. He's looking at me funny, peeps. Hold on. Oh, I see how it is. Oh. Weird. Oh. What's wrong, son? Hey, you haven't eaten much today either. He's not feeling too well, I think. Anyways, so basically, people sit there and say, Rita, you're a bigot. And it's like, look, problem is the government has no money, okay? So let's continue. Under McConnell's new ruling, the government must tap into billions of additional dollars held by the USA in a separate pot of money so full SNAP benefits can be paid. Really? The administration quickly appealed McConnell's order. The First Circuit of Court of Appeals was stacked up with appointees of Democratic presidents. Wow. They're all, oh, yeah, we're going to... Well, we'll finish this. Hold on a sec. Throughout the brief hearing, McConnell repeatedly chastised an attorney representing the Trump administration over government's failure to ensure SNAP benefits quickly reach the millions of Americans who rely on them, stressing that a ground and impact in nearly a week after recipients began missing payments. Look, thing is what's only the 6th of November, alright, dude? Without SNAP funding for the month of November, 16 million children are immediately at risk of going hungry. Really? Really? That's just amazing. I'd like to see the true numbers. These people are just... On Tuesday, a coalition of cities, nonprofits, unions, small businesses that brought the legal challenge complained that the administration not complying with McConnell's order from last week. Plaintiffs claimed that since the government in a court filing the reduced benefits could take weeks or months to be administered, they were violating his direct government expenses. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, first of all, before we continue this, because this is really pissing me off here, okay? First of all, does anyone know how the government works? Okay, the government shut down. Okay, the government is shut down, people. And if the government is shut down, how many people out there are going to turn around and be like, oh, we need food stamps. Unfortunately, how do you open up the government to give the food stamps when the USDA controls agricultural, pay attention here, people, food stamps, SNAP, EBT. Hey, Dragon, what's up, brother or sister? And they control the USDA, Rural System, Rural Development Housing. All those departments are at home. Those guys are sitting back drinking ice water, waiting for their next paycheck, while these people turn around and say, we cannot implement it fast enough. Can't implement it because there's no way to do it. Oh, you just send one guy in like Dragon here. Dragon puts up a computer, goes, in 5 minutes, it's all programmed to send payments out. Doesn't work that way. I mean, literally, if they have to do partial payments, they may need a team to go in there and fix it. If you need 65% of payments, you need a team to do it. 50%, a team to do it. You need the certain departments to run it. And if they can't, food stamps run out. I mean, there is no money for that food stamps right now. Well, what is Dragon saying? Hey, what's up? Taco Bell has Mountain Dew Baja Blast Pie for Thanksgiving. Sounds good to me, Dragon. Sounds good to me. Mountain Dew Baja Blast pumpkin. I'd like to try that. But, you know, I may get off island next week. Yeah. Anyways, how goes it, Dragon? Now, let's finish this up because I'd like to talk about the food stamps for a second. So, because we're not done yet. It's clear the administration did not comply. He said the court was clear the administration had to either make full payment by the past Monday, or it must expeditiously resolve the administrative clerical burdens that described in his paper. The records closed the administration and another. Let me put it this way. There's two types of people in the world. The world that basically sits there and says there's no money. Or the people that turn around and want to basically say there's fraud, waste, and abuse. I mean, literally, the hearing was the latest high-stakes court showdown over food stamps, which the administration had attempted to defund amid the government shutdown, prompting both the lawsuits in Rhode Island, separate one filed by Democratic governor, state attorney general in Massachusetts. Wow! Democratic governors and the state's attorneys general in Massachusetts. So other states didn't even bother with it. You see, there's a waste of resources. Both cases, McConnell and the U.S. District Judge Indira Talwani, I've heard of her, a federal court in Boston made clear last week the USDA must tap into contingency funds. They can't tap into something that's not available by law. What happens if an earthquake happens and people of Texas need their benefits to be funded, and they can't. The private released partial SNAP benefits for this month, but they left up the government to decide whether to use the tariff funds meant for child nutrition programs or SNAP benefits. Both judges were appointed by former President Obama. Wow. There goes the gridlock again. The administration said earlier this week that it opposed using the nearly $17 billion left in Child Nutrition Fund because it endangers the nation's free and reduced price school meals program. Wow! Apparently everyone's arguing that the Republicans want to take away the free and reduced lunch prices because of it. It says, which serves about 29 million children a day. The agency has transferred $750 million in tariff revenue to the WIC food program for pregnant women, new moms, and young children. Wow! So apparently WIC people are getting the basic dairy products while everyone else goes hungry. But I guess if you're a woman who's having a kid, and then you're blessed. But McConnell ruled on Thursday that the administration chose not to make full payments by dipping into the other pot of money of the USD. All right, this is a long read. Let's see, other pot of money. Well, okay. He pointed specifically to the USDA's decision to pull money from that pot to fund the WIC food program, saying the move undermines that argument against using it for SNAP payments. Wow. Well, I got another argument, too. A rational premise on such legal errors must set aside the arbitrary and capricious. Yeah, all this legal mumbo-jumbo. The administration put back strongly and claims that it wasn't complying with McConnell's earlier and that it had made a slapdash decision only to partial fund food stamps this month. It insisted in court papers filed yesterday, that since it had released the money from its contingency fund, the states had provided guidance how to states officially can calculate reduced payments. There's nothing more the USDA could do. Wow! We resolved all the burdens and the government is responsible for, Tyler Beckler, Justice Department lawyer, said Thursday's hearing. Attorneys with the plaintiffs in Rhode Island case said the new ruling from McConnell was major victory. No, it isn't. For the millions of Americans who received the federal food benefits. Again, what's a major victory? Until it's on your card and you can eat, it's not a major victory. This immoral and unlawful decision by the administration shamefully delayed SNAP payments, taking food off the table of hungry families, said Sky Perryman, the president of CEO Democracy Forward. I've seen her on a couple of shows. I think it was one of those left-wing media things Chloe watches. We shouldn't have to force the president to care for his citizens, but we will do whatever is necessary to protect people and communities. Really? So you'll go and fight for someone, food stamps of $42 million, but you won't fight for someone who just was told that they have to have a passport that's male. Wow. Or female if you're transgender. Not that it matters to me. We're not here to talk about that. Anyways, let's just finish this up. Recalculating special or partial benefits. The swiftly changed legal landscape had left the states scrambling to catch up and recipients wondering when they would receive any assistance. I'm not. What do you think? It's $24 a month. I don't care. I got enough grub into the damn thing. USDA provided states with guidance on Tuesday on how to issue benefits based on cutting households' maximum allotments in half, which the agency initially said was all it could provide with the available contingency fund. Wow, so $12 for me. Can't do much anything of $12, people. Provided partial payments, which has never been before. States have to reprogram their systems. Yeah, see, states have to redo their programming. Illinois said the beneficiary would start payments on Friday, while North Carolina and Massachusetts said recipients could get their assistance next week. Pennsylvania wrote the agency a letter saying it would take a few weeks to get aid to the recipient because of the burdensome process the USDA chose. Other states contacted would not give a timeline when benefits would be distributed. That's fine and dandy. By midweek, however, the situation changed twice in the last 24 hours. Wednesday evening, USDA announced it could actually pay 65% of everyone's benefits. So another stall. What's tomorrow? 72%? Just saying. From the contingency fund issued new guidance states, which would necessitate another round of recalculations, which could take days or weeks. And McConnell ordered full payment to be made for the month ASAP. Wow. Now, let's just say there is no money. The government turns around and they're like, there is no money yet. Oh, yeah, look at this. 2 Democratic emails. Remember when I was just complaining about these Democratic idiots sending me emails being like, we need Yeah. Look, there's someone here saying it feels like I'm failing. Mom on SNAP benefits struggles to feed kids. Wow! So you're basically sitting there saying it's Uncle Sam's job to feed you. Because some of you don't want to get 3 jobs. Yeah. And then there's that passport thing, which I don't want to go into. But you know what? The thing is well, let's see what this is. You know, they're talking about so this guy here, David Hogg for the Democratic Party is now asking for $5 today. So we got AOC asking for $5. We got David Hogg asking for $5. We got Gavin Newsom asking for $3. And then the DNC itself emailed saying, can you donate $7? Oh my God. I mean, look at this. 4 emails in one day because they think they're entitled to people's money due to the fact that the American people don't have that money to lay around because they got to eat. And most of these people don't want to, want to part with it. I mean, look, how many people out there, Dragon could probably say this, how many people out there want to part with their money to the DNC right now? Oh, wow, look, we won. Well, you got to give us more money so we can win some more. Why not you give me some money? Well, hold on, Dragon. You're probably sitting there going, uh-oh. Why not give me some money and I'll run for Congress. And I'll basically put all these buttholes in their place. There is no money, literally. There is no money. There's too much fraud, waste, and abuse. I mean, I grew up, okay, and I went to the welfare office with Aaron. Bless his heart. You know what I found? There's people driving Cadillacs, driving Corvettes, wearing fur coats, going to the welfare office, gold chains, leather coats. I go in looking like a thin, frumpy woman, and I walk out with, what was it, $14 back in the day. It might have been 10. Anyways, it was like starting with like 10, right? And then every time you get cost of living, they decrease it. My brother Ted, he's like, oh, they decreased my food stamps again because of cost of living. Who cares? If you lose $30 a month in food stamps because your cost of living went up $30, no one cares. The only ones that care are these people. I mean, look, you know that one guy, he said, well, if we cut out all the SSI people wouldn't complain. It'd be the ones that committed fraud. Maybe, but think about it. I've seen enough fraud, waste, and abuse in my life at the welfare offices that I've seen a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse at other places. I mean, literally, other places. Yeah. I mean, literally, you go in, right? I saw a doctor the other day, right? He goes, oh, so you want treatment for your pain and your psoriasis or your psoriasis, right? I said, yeah. I said, no. He said, $800 every time. $800. Yeah. So it's like, some of these doctors, they're like, I don't care if you had $10 million. I want $800 a month. Old people, he denies. You don't have the right insurance. Apparently, he just retired recently, too. They finally kicked him out and said, look, we got a hurting community, and you're not helping. He's like, well, I don't need to help. I'm a doctor. I had to pay my college. Good for him. It's he has his morals. I mean, literally. I mean, you look at the fraud, waste, and abuse, right? The other day, my doctor and I were talking about something. He literally had to leave the room and scream to his nurse in the hall because he was upset at the news. Now, but the point is, for the sake of the argument, is these people are thinking. I mean, let's put it this way, okay? I know Dragon and whoever else is viewing my channel tonight, they're watching my channel and they're like, give us something cool to talk about. Okay, here's one. Democrats claim they did a mini blue tsunami, wiping out and taking all the seats, right? And they're ratcheting it up, right? They're like, we're going to ratchet up for 2026, right? Okay, so you're going to ratchet up for 2026, but what about, here's what I want to complain about, okay? What about the fraud, waste, and abuse in this country? Fraud, waste, and abuse. I mean, literally. I mean, I know so many people that sit there and commit fraud, waste, and abuse. It isn't even funny. And Chloe, of course, you know, as I was telling my therapist, you know, Chloe wants a new computer. She wants another computer, and then wants another computer. Now, I don't mind supporting Chloe getting like a desktop, a laptop, and a mini PC. I don't mind at all. Fortunately, the problem with that idea is the more computers you have, the more electricity you have, the more plugs you have, the more this, right? I'm smelling something, and it ain't good. Moppy? Yep, he finally did it. That's what I was smelling. Alright, son, I'll clean it up because I love you. Yep, I knew I was smelling something. Yeah, you're not at fault. It's raining out, and I'll clean it up on the potty pad and take care of it real quick. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is, and this has to do with prepping too, by the way. Look, that steak is fresh. Woo, that's really right one, man. Well, at least it goes into the toilet and it goes out. Thank God it's hard. Alright, so let me tell you guys. Alright, let me tell you guys the story. Woof, good boy. Story goes like this, my friends. Good boy. My friends is, you got these people, they sit there, and, like I said, food stamps. I've seen fraud, waste, and abuse of food stamps. People driving Corvettes, Cadillacs. I've never seen, well, I've seen a couple drive Porsches. But anyways, let me just tell you the story. So, people out there turn around, and they're like, oh, we need food. Well, let me put it to you this way, okay? I don't care if you sit there and complain that you need food. I'm going to care about how you're addressing the thing. You see, they think because they got a mandate, now that they've taken Virginia, full Virginia, and New Jersey pretty much, and cracked the supermajority in Mississippi and other states. Oh, we got a mandate, we're going to win, right? I got a mandate too. It's called fraud, waste, and abuse needs to stop. Literally. Here's how I see it. You got Republicans that turn around, and they turn around, right? And you got these Democrats that come up with all these ideas, and they're like, oh, if we, you guys could argue with me later in the comments, or Dragon or whoever's watching can post comment. You turn around and you see that they say, oh, the food bank. Yeah, literally, they put in restrictions. Now they're like, oh, elderly need to work too. Well, the elderly may not work. You should exempt the elderly and exempt the disabled. Let everyone else fight out for working, right? And they say, oh, that's not fair. Really? You know what's not else fair? Fraud, waste, and abuse. Everywhere you go, there's fraud, waste, and abuse. Everywhere. You go for example, here's an example, right? The other day, this was the beginning of the month of October. The beginning of the month, I get the sheriff knocking on my door. The sheriff. You guys are sitting there going, well, how's this fraud, waste, and abuse? It is when the taxpayers get the knock on the door from the sheriff. Sheriff says we're here for a welfare check, and you find out that someone called Adult Protection Services. Yeah. And then when you tell them to F off, they keep trying to call on the phone until they show up another day, 4 days later, with a clipboard. And then they're going around to my neighbor's house, my neighbor's house, my neighbor's house, whoever else, right? I don't know how many neighbors, right? I know 3 and me. Then you find out someone called, but it's still fraud, waste, and abuse. So you look at that big picture here. So you got fraud, waste, and abuse, right? And then you got fraud, waste, and abuse. And then you got fraud, waste, and abuse. And then you got fraud, waste, and abuse. And then I get Keep it up, APS. I'll be basically wealthy before I know it because you guys keep screwing up with fraud, waste, and abuse. They don't even tell you who called. They're just like, oh, we can't really. So basically, here's the thing. They won't tell you. Yeah, they can't tell you. They won't tell you. And yet, waste the taxpayers' money. Not to mention, you have the sheriff. Yeah, I have a police scanner, right? You hear at the address, welfare check, drug addicts, drunks, whatever. Now, as I told you time and time again, there's people out there, okay? Here's how I see it, okay? I gave up drinking, okay? I gave up drinking because drinking costs more money. More money, by the way, you can actually make it with drinking. Stop drinking, I'm not condoning drinking. You can make it without drinking and without drugs. You may need to basically go to treatment for drugs, okay? I've never done drugs. Never have, never will. I do video games. American people turn around and a lot of them, they're pissed. A lot of the working class are pissed. They're paying into their taxes to pay for these people that are on food stamps, that are on drugs. Literally, that's all they do. They sit there at home drinking and stuff. I saw a lady today, half slurred, drunk, staggering around, complaining. Literally complaining. And all I hear from the neighbor is, not the big dog. We love this big dog. Better not be moving here. Who cares if there's a dog living here? If it's in building 2, I don't care. If it's in building 1, I don't care. If it's in building 4, I don't care. Actually, we only have 2 buildings. You see? Point is, I don't care. What I care for is the fact that people turn around, right? And here's another story. Another funny story today. There's a neighbor who's like, I can't eat. I don't have my food stamps. Right? He works 3 jobs, drinks excess vodka, cocktails, and done a lot of crap in his life. Okay, we're not going to go into it. And drinks a lot of beer. Can I condone a guy who's complaining he's got no food stamps, but he's buying cases of beer and vodka? No, I can't. You know why? Because if I could stop drinking beer, wine, whiskey, change my attitude, not swear, then I don't give a crap. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not swearing anymore. I'm not giving a crap about people going hungry because they're like, oh, yeah, these people think they're entitled. Most of them think they're entitled. They think they're white privileged men that are entitled. What about the brown people? Oh, brown people aren't real people. Or Hispanics aren't real people. Latinos or Asians aren't real people. My doctor's Asian. He's more real than you or I, and I'm real too because I'm still breathing. But apparently we aren't real in some of these people's eyes because, well, we're weird or we're not white enough or we're too different. Baja Blast Pie. Baja Blast Pie. Point is, people, there's no money for this food stamps. The government's going bankrupt because of it. And yet people say, well, if we just tax the wealthy, we'd be better suited. Maybe. Yeah, well, there it goes. Another person here sending an email that it is. Yeah, another thing here. Yeah. So they're talking about how what is the stock market today? This lady here emailed me like, have you seen the stock market today? No. I don't care about the stock market. Okay. Stock market dropped almost 400 points due to, I like to read the reason because usually Google has a reason every time. Stock market sink, NASDAQ sink at AI valuation concerns mount amid bleak job data. The real job data comes out and goes down 400. It'll go up tomorrow. Of course, you know my brother Ted. Oh, if we can't get it, we're all going to have a stock crash. Look, stock market would have to lose at least 50% of their income. So it went down. It went from 47 whatever today's 255 the highest, and dropped down to 46,912. Who cares, man? I mean, if it dropped like 50% of that, you need to worry. If it dropped 80% of the value, you would have to worry. But no, the thing is people say, well, with Donald Trump, the economy's better. Yeah, for the Wall Street boys. By the way, I thought about signing up to get the Wall Street Journal, but Thing is look around. Most people are basically struggling just to feed their families, and yet the American people turn around and say, well, what about, the food stamps? Well, let's talk about the food stamps for a minute, too, because let me just tell you, I have a griping gut feeling that when you turn around and say, what about the food stamps? I want to ask a question, too, and it ain't about what about the food stamps. It is about, what about the health care, Well, let me just tell you, I was telling my adopted brother the other day, I said, yeah, they're for the Democrat. He's like, the Dems are tanking the economy. Really? Okay, so I'm going to contact my local senators and Congress people. I'm going to tell them, yeah, my brother thinks you're tanking the economy. Could you make sure he doesn't get Medicaid? Because if he loses his Medicaid, then we'd be better suited without him having Medicaid. Well, yeah, to cut his food stamps too. I didn't do that, but you see where I'm going? He thinks the economy's tanking. Well, if we just cut 95% of off these people off of SSI and off of food stamps and Medicaid, Medicare, you're going to send me an email later. Not my brother, Ted, but... people will email me directly on our email channel and be like, Rita, you're talking about yourself too? I'm making a point here. Then maybe if you cut out all these freeloaders, the country would sustain itself. But no, it won't. It just means the elderly and the disabled will be on the hands of family. Even my sister said that. But guess what? Thing is, this is the crap we got to go through. Look at my sister. She messaged me last night. Hey, do we have Paramount? No. Why not? Because I didn't put in my card's on standby, temporary, until the bank clears up their double, triple, and quad errors. Because every time I turn around, I got like 4 internet bills, and the internet company just saw it this morning and went, "Oh, we'll wait till Monday." Wow, gotta wait till Monday to see if they clears it up. Because when they billed me, they billed 4 more times. So my brother Ted, he's like, "Oh, you gotta watch this video." Really? I don't remember what it was, but it had to do with something to do with the government shutdown. And I frankly didn't care. He said something about blood tests. I didn't care about that. And then he said something about, he said the Dems shutdown is choking the economy. The Dems aren't choking the economy. You know what? He's one of these Republicans that go, oh, the Dems are shut. Look, here's what I think, okay? I want to sit there and thumb my nose at everyone with the F finger right here and say, look, both parties are at fault. The Dems want to basically cripple the country, okay? I'll agree that. But the Republicans aren't budging either. They want to basically pass something and strip, 42 million of their food stamps, and then the Democrats basically have Democratic judges turn around and say, hey, you got to fund food stamps. Why? If we don't have to, if money can be impounded from USAID and other places, then we should impound the food stamp money, because there is no money right now. The government shut down until we get the 12 appropriation bill. By the way, the vice chair of the appropriation committee is our senator in the state of Washington. And she ain't doing much. I've already had words with her. And she ain't doing much. Because if she was doing something, we would have a better choice. But we don't. We don't have a better choice because most of these people don't care. They care about covering everyone's fraud, waste, and abuse up. The Democrats are nothing but fraud, waste, and abuse. People sit there and they say, oh, the Democrats are great. They let us have freebies. If we got rid of the freebies, we wouldn't have this problem. Think about it. Let me put it this way. I'll tell you what I think is the stupidest thing in the frickin' world. Democrats can go out, and 99% of them are so mentally ill. Mentally ill. By the way, you sit there and say, oh, that's not true. Mentally ill. By the way, I got to preheat the oven soon for my pork chops. Mentally ill. That they turn around and they get all these freebies. And they expect the freebies. And they want the freebies. I got heart disease. My brain's not doing too well on other issues. I got headaches. And I can go tomorrow morning. I could live another 20 years. What is, I love doing these YouTube channels for you. Because people sit there and they say, there's an all-American white weirdo speaking the truth. And the truth is, look around. Hispanics. I mean, I lived in Quincy, Washington. Moses Lake, Washington. Around Wenatchee. I've seen people sit there and they have an accident from work. Then they sit there and they're at home. And they're like, can't work. Hispanic guys. Can't work. All of a sudden they're sitting out playing basketball. And then afterwards they go and they put the crutch on. They're like, I can't work. But they're playing basketball, football, and other things. But they put on a show so they can keep the benefits going. Wow. Can you believe that? Amazing, isn't it? They can't work. Now, a lot of people aren't like that, but there's a few of them. Those are the ones that need to be booted. Yeah, booted. Then you see these people that are like, oh, the trans people, yeah, we'll just discriminate. Okay, you can discriminate against trans people, but a lot of them are on disability, and the ones that aren't, they're fighting for your rights. Okay, cool, whatever. The LGBTQIA, they're fighting, right? Then, again, you hear these people, oh, we need health care for 1 or 2 years. Yeah. And then they'll kick the can, and as soon as they get the supermajority in the House and Senate, which they're working towards, they're going to basically pass all these bills, force Donald Trump. He can veto it all. Then he can go to the Supreme Court and say, I vetoed all these 29 times, and they're still trying to pass it. You know, and then they're going to have to explain why he can't veto it all. But they're going to do what they can. Alright, there we go, peeps. So once that beeps, my pork chops will be put into the pan, and I will have a pork chop dinner. Now, here's the kicker. There's no money. Government shut down. 12 appropriations. We shouldn't be paying for the military. I mean, if you want to do a deal right now in Argentina or Brazil or Canada for beef, do it. But if the farmers want to give us a deal, let them. The agricultural department's like, well, we don't have the money right now. They're trying to round up so many people to deport. That's fine and dandy. Maybe some of them are legal, some of them aren't. No one knows. But you know what? I'm not a racist. There's people in this building that are so racist. They call them names, racist names that I don't want to reiterate. But these people are white people that think they're entitled. And then these white people think they're entitled, and they're entitled to do drugs and alcohol while collecting food stamps and Medicaid. Now, I gave up alcohol because it's not good. Medicare, Medicaid, or food stamps, or at least Medicare and food stamps. And, you know, you can get SSI and Medicaid if you have your income's really low. But then these people sit there and they say, well, we have to work and work under the table and do all this. Guess what? If you don't file with the IRS, you're committing fraud, waste, and abuse. If you're not telling Social Security you're working under the table, it's fraud, waste, and abuse. If you're not doing this, it's fraud, waste, and abuse. Everything's fraud, waste, and abuse. You know what? There's people out there that would save other people's backside for their own needs. Yeah, think about it. You could sit there and ask me how much fraud, waste, and abuse have I seen. Well, a lot. Not just on food stamps, Medicaid, housing, Social Security. I've seen it all. But guess what? One person, what are they going to do? Nothing. They can't do anything. They just say, oh, that person's crazy. Really? Mm-hmm. Or they want to sit there and say, if you screw this up, we're all going to basically suffer. Well, you know what? I'd rather suffer with a high pride in my heart that says I tried to do something than turn around and not do anything. Because these people are idiots. They'd rather commit fraud, waste, and abuse. Cover up so many things. Sweep it under the rug. And then basically look at the welfare office. They turn around, right? You go to the welfare office, sit in there, and you're waiting your turn. You see people walking in. Oh, yeah, man, I need my check. African Americans, Latinos, Hispanics wearing gold chains, and they're around their neck, and they're like, oh, yeah, leather coat. You go in there, and you look like a frumpy old lady, and you're like, sweats, T-shirt, tennis shoes, hair pulled back. You're like, your significant other playing Game Boy and going, what do you think? You're like, yeah, these people get first priority. Yeah. And then you hear these people now say, oh, well, DEI was taken, we're not getting priority. That's because they want the whites to have the priority. If they can cut out the Hispanics, the African Americans. But then once they cut out the white old people, the white old men, that they want to claim the white old men wearing dresses. See, I'm being funny here. I'm pointing my finger for a second. They want to discriminate too. And they're like, well, we'll get rid of them soon, right? Meanwhile, you got the Democrats going, they want to take away your health care. They want to get rid of your food stamps. They want to take away your transgendered rights. Woke's coming back, baby. Woke is only coming back if you let woke come back. Thing is look around. I mean, you hear that the Democrats think it's okay if we turn around and give some New Zealand crapheads and Australia crapheads the ability to tell you what games you can buy. Oh, if it's got alcohol, you can't have that game on Steam. Give me a break. If a mother and father wanted them to do a farming simulation like Stardew Valley with Eric Baroni, and Baroni turns around and puts in, you go in and you, where you can make money selling wine, is that a crime? No, it's just a game. Now, if they say, oh, we need to get rid of all these shooter games because it's giving kids the ability to play the shooter game and then run around and boop, boop, boop. You know, it's like, dude, do we really need to have you turn around and tell us that we need to get rid of the shooter games because you think, I mean, this is why the Democratic Party thinks they're entitled. They think, oh, we need to support these people. Really? Really? So, you know, back in the day, my mom used to have one job, and she had a job, and she worked that job, and that job paid the bills, right? And she had a business, and we won't go into details. But then, all of a sudden, nowadays, oh, you need 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs to survive. Maybe. I mean, my stepdad, Roy, was awesome. He used to say, you only need what you need. You don't buy anything more you don't need. What happened? Too many people looked at it and said, oh, wow, look at that. I need a new phone. Oh, that's a phone with a pin. I need a phone with a pin. Oh, I need another phone. Oh, I need a smartphone. Oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. Oh, I need this. What happened to the American people turning around people that buys too many things? I mean, literally. I mean, back in the day, you know, back in the day, we used to use black and white televisions for most of our entertainment. Didn't matter. A little portable TV out in the sun, a little black and white one running under an umbrella. Portable black and white TV on batteries. Nowadays, they used to be color too. When the colors came out, they were expensive. But guess what? People like bought one and was like, well, I have the small one. It's fine for what needs, you know. And then people started seeing bigger ones with screens bigger. People started buying them. But you know what? Most people did not want to carry in their purse a Mega Watchman, which was like this big, that tall, like this round, and about this tall, with a 5-inch TV, 4.5 inch. They wanted something that could slip into their bag and go. Now, the Rain Man's TV was just a little bigger than most, but, you know, eventually they found a way to make them smaller. And cost more money. But, thing is, people said, okay, well, I can do it. And then, people complained, well, wouldn't it be interesting if they made a color version? They did. Guess what? More money. People had to have them. Eventually, people would sit there, and computer shops started taking off. Oh, computers are the future! First computers, I remember, $8,000. I remember getting a laptop and a desktop for finances. I was like the what do you call it? The prodigy of spreadsheets. Knew it better than any family members. Computers. When I was on the spreadsheets, I'd be playing light magic games. No, that was my ticket, right? My meal ticket as a kid. My meal ticket. Okay, jokingly aside, computers started going down in price. Eventually, you know, when I was at Costco in like 1998, I spent like $1,500 for a IBM. Oh, there we go. See, it's ready to go. An IBM. Guess what happened? Yeah, it got outdated really quickly, peeps. Now, let me grab those pork chops, put them in the fridge, or sorry, the freezer, and or not the oven, because that's supper tonight. Anyways, the point is people are wasting money, and then they say, oh, well, you know, I mean, look at it. People are worried about their food stamps. People are worried about their Thanksgiving dinner. I mean, look, I emailed the church, right? There's one church that gives dinners, right? You know, Thanksgiving or Christmas. They stopped doing Thanksgiving and Easter, but they're doing Christmas. They're like, if the money is there. Right now, we're supporting so many people that have no jobs and all the economy's tanking that we're supporting them, that we may not have any money for Thanksgiving or Christmas dinners, what they said. But then I get a note, hey, Reverend, we're going to be doing turkeys and then hams for Christmas. I hope that helps you. I also shot you an email about that too. Wow. So, food bank delivery day. This is what they tell me. That's a blessing by itself. Let me get the pork chops in the oven. and then I will be prepping soon to cook the rest. Oh yeah, perfect. Perfect for tonight's supper. Yeah, that's what we want right there. The pork chops dinner. It's always on Thursday. I get pork chop dinner. So anyways, tonight's pork chops will be not marinating in a mushroom soup or whatnot. I'm going to try it with a Alfredo sauce for tonight's salsa. That's going to be pretty tasty, I think. So, here we go. In the oven for 1 hour. So, tonight's Alfredo is a roasted garlic. So, a lot of people have asked me, how do I cook it? Simple. When the pork chops get taken out of the oven, I will personally take them out, and then I will slide them into the Alfredo sauce. As the Alfredo sauce is slowly cooking, like temperature 1 to 2, and then I will pull them out and serve them with a little Alfredo sauce on the top. What I don't use, I will reheat for tomorrow's dinner. But main thing is tonight is pork chop dinner. And why am I doing this? Because I can. 2 is, a lot of people have asked me, well, how come, at food stamps, how come you're eating better than most? Because the food bank gives us pork chops always on Thursdays. And you can request pork chops. It was that because they were out of hamburger and hot dogs, and Chloe ate the hamburger, but she didn't use the hot dogs, so the hot dogs are for her for next week. I get pork chops because, well, let's just say for the record, Chloe is Islamic, so she always gets hot dogs or hamburgers. I get pork chops. Woot! So it's all good. Yeah. So I got my pork chop dinner. A lot of you people turn around and, you're like, well, that's the thing. If you guys are struggling for food, go to the food bank. Oh, well, I'm embarrassed. Well, guess what? If you're embarrassed to go to a food bank, but you're not embarrassed to go and complain on YouTube or Instagram or some other program that you're not getting food stamps, then I guess you're not that much of an embarrassment, because most people sit there and say, well, I'm embarrassed. Yeah, well, I'm embarrassed that you guys were basically turning around and begging for food. I mean, literally. I mean, how many, yeah. Oh, so there's a new video. I mean, literally, look at this. All these people are now basically smiling, these clickbaiters. They're talking about, they're talking about, so look at this. So one guy's like, Trump not allowed to starve kids for the holidays. Actually, he doesn't have to pay it, because in my opinion, under the Constitution, if Congress controls the purse strings and the purse strings is closed, the only one who needs to complain is the people that aren't getting fed. And those people didn't prep properly. And they say, oh, well, they can't prep because they don't have enough money to prep. Well, I beg to differ. I think if you're going to basically turn around and tell someone that, you need food, then you better basically go to a food bank. Because, frankly, a lot of you people out there don't want to pay for it. I mean, look at the Republicans. They're sitting there all upset right now going, look at my adopted brother. Oh, the Democrats are crushing the economy. Is that all you can come up with after the whole time the economy's taking a dump? Come on, dude. It's both Republicans and Democrats. Even my sister says there's common sense in the damn water. Of course, there's people out there that want to believe only one side's the right party. Oh, the Democrats are always wrong. But when someone tells me which one basically controls and gets fraud, waste, and abuse under control, then I'll believe that party. But right now, each party is allowing fraud, waste, and abuse to continue, and it's pissing us off. And the Republicans are trying to clean it up and can't. I mean, they're like, well, fraud, waste, and abuse continued 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Maybe. But by the time we get done with this whole damn thing, I mean, people need to sit there and, I mean, literally, I'll tell you what's going on, okay? These Democrats turned around, right? They sit there and this is what's going on, okay? The Democrats are sitting around and they turn around and they wake up in the morning. By the way, there's some grapes in there. I should eat a couple grapes. Low sugar level. Anyway, they turn around and they think, okay, we have all these problems we gotta fix, right? Thing is they're not thinking about fixing it. What they're thinking about is how to cause more fraud, waste, and abuse. That's it. I mean, you could be Republican, but the problem is the Republicans are trying to fix things. Yeah, think about it. They turn around and they're like, there is no money. I mean, let me look up something real quick because I want to be completely accurate as usual. And here we go. Yeah. Okay, cool. Ugh, come on, dude. Look, I don't... So currently it's almost $40 trillion, people, or $111,000 per citizen, or per taxpayer. It's $328,000 per taxpayer. So think about it. And this is just the U.S. national debt, okay? Now think about it. Now, well, there's a Doge thing and this and that. Anyways, the bottom line is, let's just get out of this. The bottom line, my friends, is the American people, right? They turn around and they are literally turning around and they are literally saying, well, you know, we wouldn't have this problem if we had wealth to pay their taxes. Maybe. But all these Republicans believe trickle-down economics work. My adopted brother, I think, does that. He's like, oh, trickle-down economics should work. Yeah, in my opinion, I don't think it works. And that's because I see what's going on in the world. It isn't pretty. I mean, it isn't pretty when people sit there and they say they're too ashamed to go to the food bank. Or the food bank doesn't give them what they want. Funny. Usually the food bank here, grapes. Yeah, Chloe didn't get a bag this time. Oh well. They gave her apples. I like grapes. Good snack. A lot of people just sit there and they say, well, food bank gave me 10 pounds of potatoes and 10 pounds of onions. I don't know what to do with fried potatoes and onions. Potato and onion soup. Why do you guys gotta complain that the food bank ain't giving you food? In the Great Depression, people would literally eat what they had. Those people are not appreciative. They are not appreciative of the food that they get. That's the truth. They are not appreciative. I mean, literally. I mean, my adopted brother, if the food stamps got cut off for him and he had to go to the food bank, he'd probably not go to the food bank, hypothetically, because he doesn't want to waste money on gas. Gas is too much money to go to the food bank. Well, I don't blame him. But American people need to realize that, that the people are literally sitting there panicking. And I think the government needs to stay shut down to show both parties that they got to come together for a clean resolution. A clean resolution, mind you, that I personally think that the American people need to realize if you're going to run a government, then you better damn well make sure that in the American politics, that every American has the right online, because we have the technology, to log in with an email account and vote. You heard me right. And vote to tell our Democrats or Republicans where your money should go. If you sit there and you 80 million Repubs say no to food stamps, so be it. The thing is, Repubs, Repubs are upset that they're not being listened to. They're upset that they wake up in the morning and they got support someone who's an alcoholic, who's on food stamps, who's on drugs, living in subsidized housing, buying alcohol and booze, not bettering himself. And then they say, well, how come the government, these Democrats say, well, it's like this, you see. They have an addiction. We can't take it away. So they make these rules. And then they make more rules. And then these Republicans, no offense to them, they turn around and they own housing. And they find out, well, the government has these programs. I'm talking about food stamps and everything. And these people, untouchable. And then they get angry. Untouchable. Untouchable. Yeah. Why? But apparently, the Democrats make all these rules. And then, Republicans turn around. A lot of them. And they say, we have to get rid of these people. Any way, shape, or form. Yeah. Well, I'm saying that. Yeah. I'll tell you. It's not pretty. Wake up in the morning and just want to live life. What happens? You can't. Turn on the news. You see some guy running around. And let me tell you something. Back in the day, you made that proof, right? What happened? They don't care anymore. Unless you're a white man or woman. Not a weirdo. Yeah. A lot of people think they can discriminate against 90% of the country and they allow it. This country, it's not good. But, you see, people say to me, well, you're discriminating against these poor people. No, I'm not. See, I'm not discriminating against anyone. My point is, when does it end? When does the American people turn around? My therapist, sweet lady by the way, turned around and asked me a question today. She said, Rita, I do house calls. I've always wanted to see what your place was like. I said, great, right? So, but the real reason she's doing it, because, well, I've never done it. She wants to at least do it, say she's done it once, right? But she tells me that there's too much housing fraud, subsidized housing. A friend of hers told her the other day that they applied for one of her friends that's disabled. Housing list, 10 years. My therapist said, why 10 years? What do you know, Rita? They'd rather house the druggies and the alcoholics with mental illness than house an elderly that's clean for some reason. Well, Therapist said there's too much fraud, waste, and abuse in this country. By the way, my therapist is a Trumper. Love her dearly. I mean, I love all people, but still. And all these people, they want what they want. People turn around and say, well, you know, you're not going to live much longer because our religion will see that you're gone. Cool. And then you have other people that sit there and say, no, that's the end of the world. Did you vote? No. Then you don't get to talk about politics. Not around me. You gotta be a registered voter. Yeah, you Chloe voted. But with Chloe, she thinks the U.S. government's trying to take away her rights as a woman. And that they're going to reprogram her. Social Security file, it says male. Personally, I could care less. That's the least of my worries. The least of my worries, my friends, and I'll tell you why. Because in my heart, that's the least of my worries. You see, I can worry about things like my video game or my coffee or, you know, other things. But you know what I worry about? I'll tell you. Waking up in the morning and hearing people complain about how they're going hungry, and you're like, dude, there's prepping channels and prepping channels. They can tell you how to prep. You can buy a few items a week, store it away, and have an emergency for your kids to eat. Instead, you literally turn around and you do something else. A lot of people say, oh, well, we're struggling. Really? When you're not struggling and you think life is good, you waste money. But when you are struggling, you turn around and you say you can't afford anything. Has anyone ever thought about taking and putting the struggling families and listening around and then being like, yeah? Or are you all going to sit there and complain about you're struggling because you can? I mean, think about it. I mean, the American people sit there and they say, well, the courts are going to rule that we're going to have food stamps. Courts ain't going to give you food stamps because the courts just said they have to give you food stamps. Trump administration can turn around, thumb your nose, and say it ain't going to happen. Think about it. I mean, literally, they're like, there is no money, and if you keep enforcing things. I mean, look, now here's where I'm going to say something pretty funny, okay? The American people can turn around and say enough's enough, literally. But instead, the Democrats think that they have the ability to take back the House and Senate. Fine and dandy, but here's the kicker. You take away the House and Senate equation, and what do you got? Nothing. Technically, the government can stay shut down until after Christmas because, well, apparently they don't want to come together to do something, or they just want to sit there and complain. I mean, look. Well, let's go over this. Here's how I see things playing, okay? Either the government's going to sit there, and they're going to, today's Thursday, okay? They're going to turn around people, and they're going to be like, well, the government needs to reopen. No, it doesn't. You know why? We don't have to give in to you people. We don't. We can turn around and literally be like, no, you know what? The Republicans should sit there and say, look, unless you can come up with a fair deal to pass your whatever other programs you want without putting the burden of taxpayers, we can do it. Instead, they can't. They just sit there and be like, oh, we're going to raise taxes and we got to raise this and we got to pay for all these people's Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. Medicare is already covered in a different program. Social Security, different program. But these people turn around and what do? They complain. They complain because they need their food stamps. And yet, would you give your birthright of health care for food stamps? Some of them may if they're that hungry. Others would just sit there and say, well, we're not in a big what do you call it? Wait. So let's just stand back and wait, right? Most people, I mean, the government turns around and we don't have the money. And yet, they want to sit there and say, well, we need a clean resolution until January. Fine by me, but they're not going to do it. And then my brother goes, the government's collapsing. No, both parties are. Literally, both parties won't give an inch. That's the problem. And personally, I wouldn't give an inch either after the whole election problem where they're all tooting their horn saying, we are the Republican douche nuggets. Right. Personally, I would like to say you don't own diddly crapo, in my opinion. And then these people sit there and they say, well, you didn't plan carefully. Again, you didn't. Think about it. Food stamps are out. I mean, literally, let me tell you again. They say, the states have to reprogram the food banks or the food stamps. Wow, the states have to? I just love that. Why don't we just do what the Trump administration recommended in the at the end of the Biden administration? Give everyone food boxes. Maybe that would fix the fraud, waste, and abuse in this country. Because frankly, every time I turn around, you hear, the food stamps. Yeah, I mean, literally, maybe they should put together like a month-to-month Foster Farms food box. Basically, what I'm talking about. Not Foster Farms. Hillshire Farms type basket with the food in it and be like, here you go, this is your food for the month. I mean, if the food bank could sit there and give us 10 pounds of potatoes a week, 10 pounds of onions per week, pork chops, and some fruits, you could basically live off the entire food bank week. But people say, oh, you can't live on. Really, I could take and peel off all the potatoes, throw them in soup. Onion and potato soup. It may be a poor man's dinner, but hey, it's food. But guess what? You guys don't want to think that. You say, oh, I can't live on it. Yeah, well, I don't know what to tell you, people. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't anymore. Because frankly, you think that it's a great idea that we have food stamps. Okay, let's just say the government stays closed, right? And they find the money to get the food stamps. Let's just say hypothetically, the President of the United States comes out and says, hey, we tapped into the housing program. The USDA has housing, the agriculture. We just cut out the housing, the agricultural fund, right? For housing. We just took 1/4 of their money away to pay for your food. Congratulations. Next month comes, government's not open in December. We just took another quarter. Eventually, they're going to be like, hey, there's no money. I mean, look. Right now, they're saying there's no money. Yeah, you guys sit there and say, oh, the Democratic judges are like, these kids need to eat. And then they're like, well, if you could tap into this fund for school lunches, you can tap into... I mean, I'm sorry to say, but who in the saying hell gave them that much right? But think about it. I wouldn't do it. Give me a second. I need to check the battery level on my tablet for tonight's supper. I always watch my tablet when I'm at the dinner table. Nope, that's fine. My point is, my friends, I'm tired of waking up in the morning and sitting around and seeing these people complain about... I mean, now, I'm not a bigot. I do believe the children should eat. But I also believe that if you're going to basically rely on the government, you should at least try to put something away. That's all I'm saying. And prep. I mean... yeah. Because, a lot of people at the elderly are like, oh, it's November! Oh, yeah, by the way, emailed 2 people about some advocacy things. I help from time to time get some information. The government's LIHEAP program, the Low Income Home Energy Program, Energy Assistance, LIHEAP. Heating Energy Assistance Program, Low Income Housing Energy Assistance Programs. I'm getting in. They aren't opening and taking enrollments yet because the government is shut down, so that money, and then the government says, look, we should just cut that out because why should we have to give the people, each household, in America, let's just say there's 300 households, 340 million households, they're claiming that every year it's like, I don't know, like $300 billion in the health program, I think it is. I don't remember. Let me look it up. So, let's just say it's, here we go. So, $200 a person, or a household, times 340 million people, right? Let me just do it out of hypothetically. Is approximately $68 billion a year, not including the other programs that they provide, for your electric bill. So $70 billion, give or take, with some change. And yet, at $70 billion, people are like, we're working Americans, we don't qualify. But they want the elderly. Do you know how hard it is to make $200 in electrical subsidies last? I mean, literally, it's like some government agencies turn around and you're like, "Bro, I mean, you know, I get emails in the evening like your content's great. We're learning about government programs we don't even know about." And one of the programs, there's this program where you can go and get the state pays if you're on a state program and you're like in the mainland. I live on an island. And you're on the mainland, they have these programs where the government turns around on Medicaid in the states, and they call it DISH, whatever it is. In our state, it's a DISH, DSHS, DISH. And they give you a ride anywhere you need to go, groceries, medical appointments, and a taxi picks you up, and the taxi driver loves the DISH because the DISH pays for their cab. Like, you know, there's one lady, she said to me, well, actually, let me tell you about this one guy. I can't remember his name now. I think his name's Ruben. Anyways, the guy was a great guy. Anyways, we get picked up. We had him like many times. And he says to me, you know, where are you headed? And I said, oh, I got to go down here. Well, he grabbed his Thomas guide. The taxi drivers back then had maps. Drives down there, right? One way, $300. One way back, $300. He said, I made $500 just on a DISH ride today. And all he had to do is tank up his car in Seattle. Well, downtown, all the way at the end of downtown, because I had to see a dentist about an emergency appointment. Yeah. That's why these people sit there and they say to me, wow, Rita. I mean, let me put it this way. There's a DISH ride, right? And you're like, oh, yeah, DISH ride. That's great, right? And then, you know how the taxi service are. They charge by the mile, right? So pay attention here because you guys are going to be blown away. So Chloe, of course, gets out of Fairfax Hospital in Kirkland. And she's got to go, your guys are smiling, she's got to go from Kirkland, Washington, right, all the way to Moses Lake, right? Moses Lake. And the guy calls up the DISH and says, can I get it round trip too? And they said, sure, right? So picture this, right? So she's going from, and I'm doing this, Google Maps, because I want to be accurate here. I don't want you guys to say, oh, yeah, well, you know, and so it was, Moses Lake, right? Moses Lake, Washington, home, right? So we're going to go directions because I know exactly where in Moses Lake we're going to go to, there we go. Alright, so going here to going to home, right? And it's I said Fairfax, right? Fairfax Kirkland. Yeah, Fairfax Hospital Kirkland, right? Here we go. Giving directions, right? So it was 3 hours, 11 minutes, one way, 181 miles. The DISH guy got round trip, right? Now picture this. The DISH guy got round trip. And, yeah, so the DISH guy got round trip. Anyways, because the DISH guy got round trip, mind you, you're probably thinking, yeah, that's great. He got like $1,800 round trip. Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. There we go. Oh. So apparently they repainted the building. And, yeah. Painted the building and, no. They painted the building and they gave it a new paint job. Go figure. Yeah. Home sweet home back in the day. So Chloe came all the way home to Moses Lake, and it was like $1,800 round trip, and the state paid for it. So think about it. So all these people, they sit there and they email and they say, that is a great program to learn about. Yeah. And so who gets to basically do it? Hospital turns around and says, hey, we got to send this person home. They don't sit there and say, well, we'll take them to the nearest Greyhound station, because they came in on Greyhound to go to Kirkland, Washington, which is near Seattle. But they decided to do a cab back. Yeah, or the train. The rest of the time it was train. But guess what? It sucked. Literally sucked. Yeah. So anyways, there you have that part. So a lot of people sit there and they say, well, why should we be supporting people that don't want to work, or people that, need food? And it's like, well, the Dems think it's the only thing we can do. But thing is, the Republicans are saying, hey, where's the money? I mean, literally, a lot of these people are saying, give it another year and the House and Senate is going to be back in Democratic control. Let's say it is. It's going to be very bad because, first of all, you're going to see the House and Senate controlled by the Democrats, which a lot of people say, well, our rights are going to be violated. Look at Reese and Dragon and that other person, Jill, that's what her name was, I think. They all said the other day on the election things, the country's gone down the toilet. Yeah, the American people sit there and they want less taxes. They want to pay less money. They want more money in their pockets, but guess what? Democrats say, literally. I mean, the thing is you have all these people. There's half the country's freeloaders, and the other half the country are hardworking Americans. The freeloaders think the hard workers should pay for them because, well, they're entitled. No, they're not. I mean, we're not entitled for nothing. I mean, literally. You're entitled to the air you breathe and what you do, and everything's a blessing. So if the government gives you a check, it's a blessing. If the government tells you to, it's not. Point is, you got to basically turn around and look at it from the point of view when people say, Rudy, you're a bigot. No, I'm not. I'm not a bigot when I'm seeing what the country's going down the toilet. Literally. You got people sitting there and they're, the American people, they're tired. They're tired of waking up in the morning and seeing their money pissed away because, they got to pay for Joe Blow for whatever reason. I mean, it's like that APS lady. The APS lady got put in her place. But you know what? They're always, is Chloe taking advantage of you? Chloe doesn't pay her bills. Chloe pays more of her bills now than she did back then. And always paying back and paying forward and helping people. And then you have these idiot crap heads that turn around and they're like, I mean, look, government doesn't have to fund it. If I was the government, I'd turn around and say, I'd go to SCOTUS and say, look, there is no money. No money. We're here to say that under the rules and regulations of the law, Congress controls the purse string. But you know what? They don't want to do that because if they do that, Supreme Court could be like, oh yeah, Congress controls the purse string. You don't get to say anything. And all of a sudden they're sitting there going, well, we can't cut this program and that program because Congress has to. Instead they're like, we're there. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I personally think just, there is no money. I mean, literally. I mean, people have to realize eventually. I mean, look at some people. Some people like, we love living in Oregon because, we have all these benefits. Yeah, until some people, like my loving family, turn around and say, well, what's the point of even My family turns around and they say to me, what's the point of living in a blue state when we got to support all the freeloaders? Taxes go up $15,000 a year, and they're saying, they just raised our property value by $15,000. And the next year, our property value just went up to $27,000. Or our property taxes went up $30,000. You know. Or our property taxes went up more money. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for example, right? So I was just checking out my family's house, right? And my family's house, they changed it, by the way. They moved out. But my family's house, their house was sold. Anyways, current value at the house in Oregon was $600,000 or so, right? Currently, about $550,000, right? $550,000, right? Not bad. I love that house, by the way. Let me just say, for the record, it says contact agent. They sold it a long time ago, right? This was in 2021. And it's a homeowner's, the homeowners is, it went up 171%. It was sold. And then property taxes is about $4,200 a year. Yeah, but, it'll go up. So, point is if you look at the housing thing, people, you got to realize that the property taxes on it is literally through the roof, and it's off market. So, when you look at an off-market house, you say to yourself, yeah, it's off market. Yeah, it's like my grandmother's house. If you looked at it right now, it was sold for $250,000, and now it's like $900,000. Yeah. Yeah. Let me see. Is this it? Yep, there it is. So it says right there, someone owns it. It's been a long time. Looking at the family house, grandma's house. My cousin, he's watching, he knows what I'm talking about. And, yeah. And so, if you look at that, very expensive. And because of it, you gotta, people sit there and they say, well, a house is cheaper than some things. Yeah, but the point is when it comes to food stamps and all these people sit there and they say, well, we need food stamps because we have a $600,000 house, for example. It's like, dude, you have a $600,000 house. Taxpayers shouldn't be paying you for your food stamps while you're living in a house. I mean, people are, literally, my main thing is again, let me tell you, is you got to live within your means. And, like me, you guys know I just put pork chops in. I'm about to cook food, and well, yeah, see, here we go again. Another the government staying closed because of more healthcare thingies. Right. Well, you know what I said, okay? This is what I said to Chloe the other day, or today, right? It says here, after days of real progress and bipartisan talks to end the government shutdown, the Senate now appears to be heading for now towards another dead end. Status of the Senate negotiation continues change by the hour, but as Thursday night, Senate Democrats signaled they were prepared to block GOP plans to force a Friday vote to reopen the government until they got more commitments on dealing with rising health care costs. Wow! I personally say let's cut out food stamps and Medicaid completely. I mean, I don't think my brother Ted doesn't mind going hungry for the next 20 years. I mean, literally, that may fix it if he wants to basically say the Democrats are blaming things. Anyways, let's just read this. That again scrambles the plans that Senate GOP leaders have signaled they would soon hold votes on the newly drafted bill to reopen the government, which had in the input from some Dems. But the emerging deal does not include any firm commitments to resolve the expiring Affordable Care Act. Wow. So apparently, Senate Majority Leader John Thune said Democrats seem to be backing away from an agreement. Really? Well, what's the agreement, Johnny boy? Hopes and expected always that we're going to have enough Democrats to actually proceed, but I don't know. We'll see. As about the expected vote Friday, they seem to be walking back or slow walking this. That's what they asked for. Democrats, after a day of private talks, appear to be picking up steam until this week's better than expected election are now dug in. Top Senate Democrats said Thursday night the GOP's latest funding plan would fall short if it came to the floor on Friday, signaling another major complication after days of intense talks. Senator Brian Schultz of Schultz of Hawaii said enough of his colleagues opposed proceedings with GOP's plan, which emerged in part with the input of Democratic centrists. I think it's fair to say that the caucus is obviously unanimous, but we're pretty unified in the position that without something on health care, and the vote is very unlikely to succeed tomorrow. Wow. Well, we'll blame my adopted brother Ted for this, because he's like, oh, the Democrats, really? There are still some divisions in the party, and Senate Democrat sources said the vote will likely fail, but they could pick up additional Democrat votes. Senator John Ossoff, who is up for re-election in Georgia next year, has privately been talking about his concerns with federal workers in his state, including huge airport hubs, and the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention missing another paycheck, another source says. Really? But the senator doesn't have to worry about his paycheck being missed, does he? Even some Senate Democrat centrists involved in the talks have expressed frustration with lack of progress. Wow. We don't know what it is, Chris Coons of Delaware said about when Senate may be voting on Friday. He added, there is still no finished product. We've been talking for days, but there is no product. Wow. So the Republicans are just like, pass the bill, and then, I can see why they're complaining. So hours earlier, the Senate leaders were moving closer to teeing up the votes to end the government shutdown as negotiators in both parties met again Thursday morning in an attempt to hammer out final details. But they don't have a deal. I think that's why Marjorie Taylor Greene went on The View and said there is no deal. Way to go, Margie, by the way. I give you a thumbs up there for talking the truth for once. Those details were presented to the Senate Democrats during a lunch session later in the day, but Democrats in meeting prepared to determine the push with stronger commitments on health care provisions as well as other policy wins, like limiting the impact of Trump's mass firings, according really. So you want health care and well, I say while we're at it, let's just throw in the mixture. Where the transgender people want their birth certificates to be locked in permanently on male or female, and then the elderly they want their Medicare and Medicaid locked in permanently, and then these people they want their Affordable Care Act locked in, and then you got these hobos and freeloaders wanting their health care and their food stamps. Well, let's continue. And then you want to basically do this. Why not just add that the Congress is going to also control the tariffs too? Let's continue. There are Democrats who are inclined to do this the right thing. They're under enormous amount of pressure from the left. Senate Majority Leader John Thune, who would be awaiting results of the Democrats' lunchtime discussion. We'll see if they hold sway today, and hopefully we'll know about this as the day rolls on. The emerging plan would be the Senate to attach another short-term stopgap bill to a larger package of full year bipartisan bills to fund a handful of federal agencies. According to those sources, that would be an agreement for a date certain on a vote extending the Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies, for short of the demand of many Democrats who want extension of the underlying package that Donald Trump would sign into law. Wow. Many Democrats have made clear they would be livid at any promise of a separate vote on health care that does not guarantee Trump signing anything into law. Wow. I think voters would rightly see it as a surrender, Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal said for the party's lunch meeting, adding that Tuesday's elections, as well as a flood of messages from constituents, have signaled to Democrats the Americans are saying health care matters. Really? Well, I'll tell you that. I guess in their opinion, health care matters. But to me, I don't think Ted's health care matters to me, or his benefits or anything. Why? Because I can be a butthole and say that. Just because I'm being funny here. Because I don't believe the Democrats are at fault. I blame both parties. Plain and simple, and I'll stand by it till my dying breath. Thune on Thursday would not say whether he would keep the Senate in session this weekend and into next week's schedule. Veterans Day recess is if a deal is not reached. That depends a little bit on what happens. If there's a path forward to vote, whether that's today, tomorrow, Saturday, we'll stay. Do that. If the far left wins out this, and the Dems dig in, I don't know. We'll see. All options are on the table. Wow, all options are on the table. Personally, I think they should just give us a command to leave it alone, you know. Yes. So apparently the newest thing is Elon Musk is getting a $1 trillion pay package. Yeah. Comes in the form of stock grants, so give him much 423.7 million additional shares in 10 years. Shares could be worth about $1 trillion, assuming the company reaches $8.5 trillion market cap. Alright, so lofty targets for stock growth, the future bet on robots and AI. Yeah, and yeah, So there you go. This is the latest news, so you see what we're doing with, so yeah, so anyways, I don't want to go in anything more on this, but you get the idea. I need to check the timer real quick, but you get the ideas, right, peeps? I mean, literally, this is all the crappy news we're getting. I mean, Elon Musk, the first trillionaire, possibly, with caveats, with restrictions, right, and then you got other things. So, in my opinion, it isn't over till the fat lady sings, but a lot of Americans, they want the government reopened so they can have their food stamps. So, I need to get prepped for dinner, because my dinner is about to be pulled out of the oven. So, let me just say, everyone, until the government reopens, they may just use the card there's no money, and the courts keeps trying to force it. There may be something coming down the pipe. Just don't get your hopes up until they can implement the food stamps. And now it's 50%, then 65, now full percent. That means 3 changes in 24 hours. So my opinion, we'll see what happens. In the meantime, like I said, will the taxpayers say enough's enough? I mean, literally, a lot of people are upset at fraud, waste, and abuse, and I am one of them. I mean, literally, you turn around and this is what they think. They think the country is a country. The disabled get crapped on, the elderly get crapped on, and then everyone else that's in the working class think because they're entitled to a working wage, which they are, that they're entitled to their food stamps until they get the working wage, and they're all worried about their food stamps. The country can't basically fund food stamps. Maybe if we basically turned around and did a deal like Social Security where there's a pre-plan where everyone pays into food stamps every month. Everyone that most people could the disabled and the elderly get to keep it, and the people that need it for 3 months at a time get to keep it. But if the job market keeps tanking, I don't know what to tell you. But anyways, we'll see how it plays out tomorrow and for the rest of the week. Tomorrow's Friday, so let's see how it plays out for the rest of the week. So, thanks for watching, everyone. Just remember, the government doesn't owe you. I love you, and I love all you people that tune in, and I hope you guys realize that the taxpayers, I mean, there's a lot of people that email me all the time, let me tell you. They're just like, you know what, we like subscribing to your channel now because you're literally stating, look. I mean, look, I've seen time and time again, the country cannot sustain itself without concessions. And if each party ain't doing concessions, each party ain't going to get crap. There you have it. And so the government stays shut down. In the meantime, please add and subscribe. Please post comments, leave feedback, suggestion. Hit the like, subscribe button so it's fun for your family, including your dogs, your cats, your bunnies, your service dogs, your service bunnies. Bell notification, thumbs up button, subscribe button. Keep the comments nice, all we ask. And God bless you in everything you do. I'll see you in